Hey guys, just kind of hanging out before we got a dinner here in about 30 minutes. Just kind of the end of the bowling alley. Yes, I have a bowling alley here. It's the safest place I think I can find to read with the air conditioner at this time of day. But air conditioner is in short supply in many areas of Barbados. But having a great time. Thought I'd just kind of stop in, say what's going on, how you guys doing. Give you a kind of, since there's gonna be a weekly update, obviously, I figured I'd do a quick update of what I'm up to. I'm into part 4 now of Dandelion Dynasty. If you didn't watch the video I released on Instagram the other day talking about the beginning of Dandelion Dynasty, that I was liking it quite a bit. It's one of those things where I say, look, there's a lot of good here. There's a lot of things I do like. It's not all perfect, obviously. I can see why this book's quite divisive. Really, for me, I think it's really intriguing. I really like the dynamic going on between, is it Kuni or Kunai? I'm not saying it right. And Mata, I like that dynamic quite a bit. That's really awesome, seeing how they're just quite the yin and each of the other one's yang. You know, one's just kind of force and muscle, the other one's kind of like, you know, well, let's take a diplomatic approach, or, you know, kind of the liberal versus the conservative approach to the way that they go through warfare. I like it. It's quite a good dynamic. Problem I have is there's so many characters and places that are dropped at you all at once. Like, I was 40% through the book before I even realized, oh, that's the name of the land, not the empire, you know? So it's little things like that. I think that you would have with any fantasy story where you kind of struggle with it at first and you kind of grab it over a while. I've admitted that I kind of struggle somewhat with Eastern Asian names a little bit, and that's a me thing. I feel like, you know, it'll click eventually. But very twisty and turny. I like a lot of what's going on. There's several times it was like my jaw's been on the floor, like, wow, I can't believe that happened. I can see why some people say that the writing style is very tough. It's very peculiar. I think that's the word that I would use. It's very unique. I can't think of another writer that's used this kind of writing where it almost feels like you're being told like fairy tales in short little segments, because he will just kind of introduce a new character and kind of tell you what they're feeling, what they're thinking, and things like that. But I'm liking it a bit. For me, it's like there's several parts where I've been like, there's too much going on. I don't know how I feel about this. And then there's been other times where I'm just like, but you know, I feel like the dynamic going on between these two lead characters is enough to keep me there. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. You know, I'm enjoying it. I imagine I'll finish it before I get back home, because I got really wrapped up in it and haven't read very much of Demon Copperhead, which was actually my plan. That's okay, because, you know, me and my wife had originally planned to read Demon Copperhead together, but she got wrapped up in Last Argument of Kings, which is the last book in the original First Law trilogy, and I'm not going to interrupt that. I'm like, no, you read that. I've been trying to get her to read that for 2 years, man. More than 2 years, a long time. But the thing was that she started reading The Blade itself on vacation 2 years ago, and then she just picked up Before They Were Hanged before we went to the Joe Abercrombie signing, and then she, all of a sudden, you know the way it ends, she's like, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and finish this up. And that's kind of her goal this year, is kind of finish series, and I do support that as someone who dropped the ball a little bit on finishing series this year. But as far as Demon Copperhead goes, I'm about probably 20% into it. I think it made me really happy that, you know, my folks got divorced when I was very young, very dysfunctional family and stuff. I'm glad my mom never remarried, because you think about this kid's going through, he thinks his life's like, you know, that's all he knows is, you know, necessarily that his life is hard. He just kind of knows, you know, hey, we're poor. That's just kind of like the way life is. It's not that big a deal. As a kid, you can kind of enjoy those things and make the most of it. But then she gets remarried, and the guy is quite abusive and a manipulator, and it's terrible for him and for her. And it's very tragic, I think. The first quarter of this book is very tough. And I think it's just kind of one of those where sometimes good things happen to, you know, or bad things happen to good people, or, you know, people who just really don't deserve it. And this kid just had been dealt a really tough hand in life. And I was told to expect that, but I can definitely see why people thought I was going to like this. It's got all those coming of age elements. I mean, he's still a preteen right now, and he's gone through the ringer several times, and every time he thinks everything could work out, it doesn't. I don't ever want to say I hope it doesn't do that the whole book, because that would be really unfortunate, just to watch this kid just get the shit beat out of him for 600 pages. But it's one of those where, like, I could see it going that way. Obviously playing off of David Copperfield, which I read, God, many years ago. I don't have to really remember about it. But I can see the influence there. And as far as like making a one-to-one comparison for characters and things like that, I couldn't do that, because like I said, it was so long ago. But that was kind of the approach that Miss Kingsolver took to writing this book. And it's been an interesting approach for sure. But that's really what we're up to. I mean, it's really nice here in Barbados. Obviously, I think you would expect that. It's very hot. I'm from Houston. We're used to the hot. The whole reason we come here is because the water isn't blue in Houston. The water is blue here, and that's very, very nice. That is the allure of coming to the Caribbean, I do think. But having a great time, I do think, celebrating our 15th wedding anniversary. Can't really complain, but we made it a point this time to say, you know what, let's make sure we do a lot of the entertainment on the island. Let's try to stay up past 10 o'clock, you know, like back when we were strong in our 30s, you know, but so we haven't really turned on the TV very much. So I can't really have any TV or movie stuff to talk to you guys about. We watched a little bit of All of Us Are Dead on the plane flights. That was fun. All of Us Are Dead is a Korean show about a zombie apocalypse breaking out. And again, it's kind of similar to how I felt at Squid Game, where I was like, I thought that, you know, maybe I was just kind of getting a little tired of the zombie thing. And I was like, maybe I'm just tired of the way that American television is writing it, because it's very good. I think we're like 3 episodes in, and it's very, very good so far. I'm really interested in all the characters and some of the way that things have been shot, these tight, narrow hallways. It gives me kind of that James Cameron or Ridley Scott kind of Aliens vibe. You know, just the tight hallways where you really can't escape. And just kids doing this like really, really ballsy things. It's really good. I can see why people like it, why the show's been so popular. So for me, it was like after I watched Squid Game, I kind of had that hangover a little bit. And I said, well, what should I do? And everyone said Alice in Borderland or All of Us Are Dead. And Alice in Borderland seemed maybe a little too similar to Squid Game. So that's why I went with All of Us Are Dead. I'm liking it quite a bit. It's very, very good. And yeah, another good recommendation for you guys. Watch Sinners before I left. Great movie. It's only the second movie I've watched this year, guys. Minecraft being the other one. So this was the first adult movie I've watched this year, and very, very good. Now, look, I'll be honest. I think Michael B. Jordan really can't miss. I think that he's good in everything. Didn't see Fant Four Stick, so I can't really say on that, but I don't think it was his fault. But I think that he's always quality. He's really, really good. And I love just about everything about this movie for the most part. Costuming was spectacular. I love them placing it in the 1930s in the South. You know, the aesthetic was really, really good. The music was incredible. If you're into like old time, deep South rhythm and blues, it's really, really good stuff. I like it a lot. But it really made me think of, a lot of people have been saying, oh, it's like Salem's Lot, you know, and I'm like, besides it having vampires, I don't really think that. What I kind of got out of it was, imagine From Dusk Till Dawn, Robert Rodriguez, From Dusk Till Dawn, but kind of taking place in 1930s Mississippi. That's kind of feels, because, you know, they're a vampire attack, and you're in the middle of this bar. That's kind of the vibe that I got from it. Great performances all around, amazing soundtrack. There's one little bit where I was like, I don't really know what he's doing right here, but it didn't take away from the movie. Incredible music, incredible acting. The action scenes are really good. Might have been a pinch over long. I'm still, you know, man shakes fist at cloud. I'd like my movies to be under 2 hours for a change, but I never really got to the point of exhaustion. And watch past the credits, because there is a really good post-credits sequence. I would call it a sequence because it's quite long. It isn't just a 30-second clip or something to be like, oh wow, it's really, really good. It gives you some conclusion to some things to the movie. So terrific movie. And again, Michael B. Jordan, right now I feel like that guy can't miss. He's good in just about everything that I've watched him in. But that's it, guys. We'll be leaving here on Wednesday. It's going way too fast. Every vacation, I think, goes way too fast, but especially a sandals vacation, I do think. But thank you guys that have been hanging out and sticking with me as I brag about this awesome vacation. It's really not meant to be that. Just thought I'd check in, let you guys know what I was doing, because I'm very excited to talk to you guys about Grace of Kings. Because I think there's lots to talk about while it's going on, instead of just, after I finish it. And that's why I wanted to kind of drop you guys a line here in the middle of this lovely, plush bowling alley. Yeah, never really thought that I'd be recording from a bowling alley in Barbados, but that's where we are, guys. So, hey, I'd love to know what you guys are up to. We do have Wi-Fi on the island, so I'll try to respond to anything I can. So if you want to drop below, let me know what your week's going like, what you read, what you listen to, what you're playing, all that good stuff. Drop the comments, guys. Let me know, and I'll talk to you when I get back.